Welcome back to Hearty Soul. I'm Emily. Glad you're back. I'm seriously overwhelmed with how many people have watched and liked the last mask video, and I thought, since I've been getting so many questions about how are you making the new kind of mask that you're making, I've been getting a lot of requests to make a certain kind of a mask. Now, you might have seen our other video about making a dust mask and a mask to prevent illness, and that's all well and great until you have to wear that mask for like 12 hours a day. And I've been told that our ears are getting sore. And so then I was making headbands with buttons to keep the pressure from the elastic off of the back of the ears. And then I thought, why don't I just come up with a pattern for a mask that doesn't involve any elastic, no pleats, and is easy for everybody to use. So I'm going to show you today the new pattern I have for making a simple mask. This mask takes about 5 minutes to make, and it only requires 3 pieces of 8x10 fabric, and then either some cording, some bias tape, which is what I had on hand. You could even tear up the bottom of a t-shirt and use that as string, or clothesline cording. You can use whatever you have on hand to create a cording. I'm going to show you how this mask goes on. So you can see this is the front of my mask, and then this is the back of my mask. I also got asked from a lot of people to make a mask where you can distinguish the inside of the mask, where the filter pocket is, from the outside of the mask. So I had to come up with something that included those elements. So this is my mask, and you can see this is the bottom, this is where my bias tape loop is, and then this is the top. I'm just gonna pull that straight, and I'm gonna show you how to put this on. So you place it over your head with the inside filter pocket facing out. Okay. Then you're going to draw this mask up. Until it's right underneath your chin, and this is sort of set back on your neck. Then you're gonna bring it up over your face. I really like this style that I created also because it has this wire piece. I was wearing a mask and my glasses would fog up all the time, and I know that that's the case for a lot of other people as well. So this little piece of wire in here will keep the condensation away from my glasses. So I'm just going to bring it up over top of my nose, and I'm tightening and pulling as I go, and it's cinching the sides, bringing it closer to my face. And you can see under here it's covering all the way down here underneath my chin. And I'm going to bring it up over top of my head. I'm going to bring this part up, all the while pulling these strings a little bit tighter. And then I'm going to tie this tight and in a bow. Okay. Once that's on, then I can adjust this nose piece down, and I can pull it away from the lower parts of my eyes. So that is nice and tight. You can see this is nice and cinched. And it fits in the back of my head. There is nothing behind my ears binding my ears. And because I wear glasses, I know that this mask will not cause me to have condensation going to my glasses, which I think is really helpful. So you can see how that fits. I'll turn around, just like that. So to remove this mask, what we're going to do is untie from the back from the top. We're gonna untie it at the top, bring the strings down, pull the mask away from your body, giving it enough room to pull over your top of your head, and then dispose of into the laundry. Okay, so remember we are creating a pocket on the top of this mask, so where we have this piece of wire, it can easily be slipped out by going up underneath in the filter pocket and then pulling it out, just like this, for easier washing. And then this way, this piece of wire can get set aside and we can put our mask right into the laundry. Now the filter pocket, I've used coffee filters, you can use furnace filters, I've even heard people using vacuum filters. You can put a lot of different things in here. Just remember to remove the filter before you put this in the wash. I would also recommend, before you put it in the wash, bringing these ties up and just giving this a loose knot here so that these strings don't come out of their casing while they're in the laundry. You could also put this in a garment bag if that would be easier, and that way it doesn't get caught up and tangled as easily in your wash. So there's a lot of different things that you could use as string inside your mask. You can use things like shoestring that you might have around. You can use cording or cotton string. You could cut the bottom of a t-shirt off at 1/4 inch wide and use that. As long as we're about 55 inches long, that seems to work pretty well for all different varying head sizes. And once you get your mask fit to the person who's wearing it, you can also cut some of the ties off once you find a good fit so that you don't have the loose ends hanging off in the back of your head. I did decide to cut this string at 55 inches long just so that no matter who's wearing the mask, it's going to fit. I really encourage you to use what you have at home, whether you have a little bit of wire somewhere, whether it be a twisty tie or a pipe cleaner or just some wire that you have laying around. Just remember to pull it out before you put it in the wash machine, because like a pipe cleaner will rust inside of this little pouch. All right, for this pattern we're going to need a scissors, a pencil, a few pins or clips, and then also some clean 100% cotton that has been washed, dried, and pressed. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do with making this mask is cut out 3 pieces of fabric. Now I've chosen to cut out my interior pieces to look different than my exterior, so that real quickly I can determine which part is the inside of my mask and which part is the outside of my mask. So once you get your 3 pieces of 8x10 fabric cut out, I'm just gonna lay them right sides together. I'm going to fold them in half the long way and just create a crease here gently with my fingers, and then I'm gonna open this back up and I can see my crease here. Okay, and then I'm gonna take my ruler and from the edge and right along that crease, I have 3 inches. So I'm gonna take a pen or pencil and just draw 3-inch line on each side. Okay, and I'm gonna sew these 2 lines right here. All right, so by doing this, what we've done is created a finished pocket for the filter on the inside of the mask. I'm going to place it right sides together. The next thing we're going to do, now that we've got our 2 pieces sewn right sides together, is take the inside part and simply turn it right side out. Gently take a tool such as a chopstick or the back end of a wooden spoon or something. Just be careful so you don't poke through the corners. And as you can see, we've got the inside of our mask where the filter pocket will go, and then we also have the outside of our mask. Let me give this a little press. Okay, now that we're nice and pressed, the next thing I'm going to do is put in a little pocket up here for a piece of plastic coated wire or a pipe cleaner. And by making this a pocket, it's actually able to be removed. That wire then can come out before washing, so that if you have to use a pipe cleaner, you can remove it before washing it, because a pipe cleaner will rust if washed. Okay, so next what we're going to do is just create that little pocket for that nose piece. I'm going to measure 4 inches in the center of this. 4 inches here in the center of this interior side. I'm just going to sew in that little pocket. Make sure you're back stitching really good too, so that you're not losing stitches between washings. And I've just cut about a 4.5 inch piece of wiring. Then I'm going to take my little piece of wire here, and I've got just a needle nose pliers, and I'm just going to curl the ends so that they don't poke out from the fabric and that they don't hurt the person wearing the mask, like this. And do that on both sides. Alright, so we've got our little piece of wire here, and I'm just going to thread it up inside my filter pocket, and I'm going to take it up into that top part of our mask. So it is in there like that. We're going to use either cording or string. What I have on hand a lot of is bias tape, and so I'm going to use bias tape. You could also use shoestring, you could use cording, you could use clothesline string, you could use a lot of different things to make this work. So what I'm going to do is measure this bias tape to 55 inches long. Then what I'm going to do is take each end of our bias tape, or cording or string or whatever you have, and I'm going to make a knot so that it's less likely to slip through my casing that I'm going to make next on both sides. So here we have our string, our 55-inch string. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is create a casing for our string. So this is the inside, this is the outside. I'm going to create a corner on both sides, like this. And then I'm going to fold this over like this. So we've got a nice finished seam here. I'm going to create a pocket, and I'm going to place some pins. So this is the top part of the mask, this is the bottom part of the mask. So I'm going to lay my string, my bias tape right here like this, and I'm going to leave the 2 open ends of the string at the top of the mask. This is what's going to get tied behind the head. And then over. And I want to make sure that this bias tape is really good and tucked in to that pocket so that I don't sew on top of my bias tape. Alright, so I'm going to sew this on the closest part to the edge as possible is where we're going to sew. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And again, remember to backstitch at the beginning and the end of both of these seams because we want to make sure that they are going to last a long time through a lot of washes. And that is it. So, as you can see, we've got the top of our mask here, and we've got the bottom of our mask here. And we also have our piece of wire in here so that we can close down on the nose, and no pleats, so that takes a lot less time to create. Each mask takes about 5 minutes to make, and it's a lot quicker when you don't have to put the pleats in. Thanks to Bree over at Homemade at Our Homestead for some inspiration. I hope you enjoyed this pattern. Have a great week.